Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. The head of all Marvel's TV shows under Kevin Feige just confirmed that they're turning Kingpin into their street-level Thanos inside the MCU ahead of Daredevil Born Again and Spider-Man 4, all the upcoming street-level Earth-based movies and TV shows for the next couple of years in the MCU. Vincent D'Onofrio has also been talking about how they'll handle his character in the movies along with the Daredevil character, so we'll break it all down because it confirms a lot of theories everyone has had going all the way back to the Marvel Netflix days when they first introduced these characters. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. We have a bunch of Daredevil Born Again stuff coming up, a bunch of Echo episodes. It'll all start setting up everything that's going to be happening with them in the movies as well, too. This is Brad Winterbaum. He's the head of all of Marvel's TV shows under Kevin Feige. This is him talking about Kingpin as that street-level Thanos in the MCU. Movies, TV shows, it's not just for all the TV shows. This is for everything.
Wilson Fisk is kind of like the Thanos of this street-level corner of the MCU. Is that the case going forward? Is he kind of like what we're building towards?
Oh, man. You kind of hit the nail on the head. I can't say too much, only that... you know, as a chapter in Wilson Fisk's life, this is a crucial one and sets the stage in some remarkable ways for what's coming next.
It definitely sounds like Marvel is thinking what we've all been thinking, especially after seeing Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse with that literally larger version of Kingpin in the movies. Kingpin also works as a ground-level villain, but he also works as a much bigger movie-level Spider-Man villain. His very first appearance was in Amazing Spider-Man number 50 back in 1967. So it's actually weirder that Marvel hadn't used him in a Spider-Man movie before now. But the main reasons why they hadn't done it yet is mostly because up to this point there were rights issues. And when Sony started developing the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies back in the early 2000s, at that time the Sinister Six villains were perceived by Sony as more commercially viable Spider-Man villains in the movies. And at the time so much money was on the line, like this was the very beginning of the big superhero movie boom. They just started doing the Bryan Singer X-Men movies and they just started blowing up, so Sony just perceived the Sinister Six villains as an easier slam dunk for them in terms of villains overall in the movies. At the time, they probably made the correct move, like it was probably right for them to go with the classic Sinister Six roster first. Kingpin's abilities in the comics aren't nearly as flashy. He doesn't have the same type of special powers as most of those biologically powered Sinister Six villains. And even though Kingpin uses technology in the comics, for the audience that Sony was looking to get to the movies, like the younger male audience, even the Sinister Six villains that were more technology-based were an easier sell for them. Didn't really help that the Ben Affleck Daredevil just did not pan out the way that people expected. There were some good things about that, like his Daredevil costume was actually pretty solid. But at that time, the Daredevil rights, Kingpin character were at Fox. Sony's Spider-Man movies were doing gangbusters. Everybody loved them. Even though Spider-Man 3 wasn't as well received, they were still earning way more money than the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie. Also, the Elektra movie after that did not help matters at all.
Nope, that didn't help things.
But they use Kingpin all the time during Spider-Man the Animated Series. I would call him just as big as Green Goblin or any of the other really major Spider-Man villains during that. So once they introduced the Vincent D'Onofrio and Charlie Cox versions of the characters on the Daredevil Netflix series, it was only a matter of time before you started seeing them in the movies again. But then thankfully they sort of reinvigorated the characters with the Daredevil Netflix series. They introduced Vincent D'Onofrio's version, Charlie Cox's version of Daredevil, and finally we had some really good versions of the characters again, so everyone started wondering when we're going to see them in the movies. And since their debut, Vincent D'Onofrio has been talking about fighting Spider-Man in the movies on the regular. This is him just last week talking about Daredevil and Spider-Man teaming up against him in Spider-Man 4.
I think people would dig seeing Kingpin and Spider-Man and Daredevil going at it in a film. And
that basically confirms Marvel has been thinking what we've all been thinking this whole time. Take Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin, Charlie Cox's Daredevil, and use them the same way you used them during Spider-Man the Animated Series in a big Spider-Man movie. And that's the real reason why Marvel is setting Kingpin up to be their street-level Thanos, so that he makes sense in a Spider-Man movie. He becomes a big enough metaphorical threat to Spider-Man. They just took Spider-Man back to ground level at the end of Spider-Man No Way Home. He'll always participate in those big Avengers movies like Avengers 5, but No Way Home was about taking him away from all those Iron Man gadgets, the Iron Man made suits, resetting him to a more friendly neighborhood Spider-Man version of the character. They might have to delay Spider-Man 4 to 2026 at the rate things are going for that movie, but that would give them time to release Daredevil Born Again, which is currently set to release in 2025. During that, part of Kingpin's arc is running for and winning the office of mayor of New York City, running on an anti-vigilante campaign. You kind of see where this is headed. Using his powers and influence as mayor to go after people he deems as quote-unquote dangerous vigilantes, but secretly using the police to just take out all the heroes like Spider-Man, Daredevil, Punisher, anyone who would stop him from running New York City like his own personal playground, doing whatever kind of shady stuff that he wants. You have to imagine Kingpin running on the Trust a Bro slogan. Give your vote to Wilson Fisk for mayor. Seriously, trust a bro, it'll be great. And basically turning New York City into a police state in the process. It's like part of this big Dark Reign arc that Marvel is engineering in the movies and the TV shows during Marvel Phase 5, a much more ground level kind of phase. Like there are a couple cosmic movies that are happening in Marvel Phase 5, but a lot of that stuff is mostly Marvel Phase 6 stuff. A lot of you during Spider-Man No Way Home were asking when Matt Murdock, Spider-Man quickly had their team up briefly at the beginning of that movie if Spider-Man now knows who Daredevil is or if he figured out Matt Murdock was Daredevil when they were meeting together. We know before Doctor Strange's 2 spells, Matt Murdock for sure knew Peter Parker was Spider-Man. That was the whole reason why he was helping him out as a really good lawyer, because he'd been outed as Spider-Man. But the final spell at the end of the movie erased all of that knowledge from everyone's minds, so after the spell, Daredevil would only know that there is a Spider-Man out there web-slinging around New York City trying to help people just like him. But at least up to this point, we don't know that they've actually encountered each other at night while they're in their suits. Like Daredevil in costume has never run into Spider-Man in costume. They'd probably want to have a meeting like that first actual meeting in a post-credit scene or like the very beginning of Spider-Man 4. Make it like a really big moment, and then they can have some funny moments of realization when things go from super serious, like they almost wind up fighting each other for a hot second until Spider-Man realizes that it is Matt Murdock. Like, you sound just like the lawyer who helped me a while ago, but Matt Murdock doesn't know that it's Peter Parker, and he has to convince him otherwise. Like, no, seriously, you just helped me out. In Daredevil and Spider-Man both have a long history of teaming up together in the comics. Their team-up episodes of Spider-Man the Animated Series were also based on a lot of those. Seriously, if you have not watched that TV series, you could just go back and watch a couple of those episodes, like watch a couple of Kingpin episodes, watch a couple of Daredevil episodes, and it'll give you a good vibe for what their team-ups would be like. Inside the MCU, the reason why they team up against Kingpin, likely because they both encounter Kingpin in different parts of New York City, and the crimes that they're investigating him for are just connected. Like Daredevil has been building a case against Kingpin since the events of Daredevil Born Again, and Spider-Man uncovers some other shady thing that he's involved in another part of the city. Then while on the case, Daredevil and Spider-Man just happen to run into each other, leading them to their team-up.
Since you and I appear to be on the same team, I should tell you who our real adversary is in all this. His name is Wilson Fisk.
And while they're together, Daredevil can give Spider-Man more sage wisdom, Daredevil style, like that's kind of his thing. Give him another great power, great responsibility kind of speech, but in a Daredevil kind of way. And really the only thing that they have to do on Kingpin's side of things is just elevate him to a more powerful position of authority inside New York City, which is basically making him mayor. Let me know in the comments how you want them to actually get Kingpin ready to be a movie-level villain. Like, he's mostly there, but there are just like a couple things they have to do for the character. Right now, just based on everything the Marvel TV people and the Marvel movie people are saying, I'm not expecting any Spider-Man cameos in Daredevil Born Again, just because Sony and Marvel are so weird about where they let Tom Holland Spider-Man cameo in the movies. They're probably not going to let him cameo in any of the TV series. That's actually one of the reasons why that Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man TV series we're going to be getting later this year is going to be Elseworlds. Originally, it was going to be Spider-Man freshman year based on Tom Holland's Spider-Man's freshman year in high school, like his first year of Spider-Man getting the spider bite, everything that happened with him before the events of Captain America Civil War when he was in that first homemade suit. But then they changed the plot, made it Elseworlds, started switching some of the characters, like they put Norman Osborn in it, Harry Osborn, Nico from Runaways, Doctor Strange is going to be in it, Charlie Cox's Daredevil is also going to be in it, played by Charlie Cox, obviously. So you can see that Marvel already has a Daredevil Spider-Man team-up with Charlie Cox's version of the character, or close to a version of his character. So it sounds like they've been planning on putting him in more movies for a long time. One of the other best examples of what Spider-Man vs. Kingpin would actually look like is the Spider-Man PS4 game. Like, there's a really big Kingpin battle at the beginning of that first game. We don't know who the actual main villain of Spider-Man 4 is going to be, but let me know who you want them to use if it's not going to be Kingpin, and Kingpin will just be like a secondary villain. We're supposed to get multiple seasons of Daredevil Born Again, so I'm not expecting Daredevil or Spider-Man to like completely take Kingpin down by the end of Spider-Man 4. I think that during Daredevil Born Again Season 2, he would still be mayor of New York City, and that's not going to happen till like well after Spider-Man 4 comes out. There's a whole bunch of related stuff that's coming up, like we're getting Echo episodes with Daredevil and Kingpin next week. I'll do a couple videos for that. We have X-Men 97 episodes that are coming up after that. Cannot wait to see more X-Men stuff happening in the live-action movies too. We're probably going to get that Deadpool 3 trailer at the Super Bowl. Whatever they wind up releasing, of course I'll do videos for it, so click here for that brand new Daredevil trailer where they confirm all the Marvel Netflix stuff is canon to the MCU, and click here to learn more about Spider-Man 4 and live-action Miles Morales. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.